Okay, let's get started. We will start with the fundamentals of statistics. Before we begin, let's understand what I cover in each of these four sections. In section 1, we will see what is statistics, the branches of statistics, and the scales of measurements, and so on. In section 2, we will see what is, we will discuss about descriptive statistics, the branches of descriptive statistics, such as measures of central tendency and measures of spread. As part of measures of central tendency, we'll explain the business applications of mean, median, mode, and what is outlier, and so on. On to section 3, visualize and understand the distribution of the data, such as normal distribution, what is normal distribution, what is uniform distribution, bimodal distribution, and the positive and negative skew. In case of any outliers, how to detect them, how to address the outliers, and the position of the data using percentiles and quartiles, and so on. In the last section, in section 4, will help you understand the measures of variability. It is also known as measures of spread. As part of this, let's take a deep dive in understanding range, variance, standard deviation, coefficient of variation, and how to apply in business scenarios. Okay, I'll explain you with formulas also, and with these formulas, right, you will be able to understand the underlying principle of why we need to use this measure when it comes to skewed data, right? For example, you will get to know in what situation which kind of statistical test that you are supposed to conduct, and before that what are the prerequisites that I should be having it, right? That is the prerequisite that I'm going to cover now. Okay, so what is statistics? What is statistics? It is a science. It is science. It deals with it's a science, and it is a branch of mathematics. It deals with collecting, classifying the data, analyzing the data, and interpreting the numerical facts, right? And the use of probability theory, we will predict the future also. In statistics, we have something called probability, using which you can make a prediction. Apart from statistics, right, you have something else called predictive analytics. See, in statistics, there are two branches are there. One is descriptive statistics, other one is inferential statistics. The descriptive statistics is also called as explorative data analysis, exploratory data analysis, and the inferential statistics is called explanatory data analysis. Exploratory and explanatory. One second, let me just. My God, I did not connect my tablet. I'm a bit scared of touching my USB cable. Whenever I touch, right, it disturbs my this thing. Am I audible to you all? Rishik, can you confirm? Because yeah, good. Because whenever I change my USB cord, right, somehow it's getting disturbed. Okay, descriptive statistics is also called as exploratory data analysis. And inferential statistics is called explanatory, okay, data analysis. Fine. Today we will take a look at what is descriptive statistics. Let's take a deep dive in understanding the concepts of descriptive statistics, and why do we need to do descriptives, where do we need to perform descriptive statistics. Everything we will learn it today. But before this, let's try to understand there is something called levels of measurement. Okay, levels of measurement, it is also called as scales of measurement. During college time, or school time, you would have studied, right? During school time you would have studied. For example, let's say you joined with the company as a data scientist. They've given you the data set in Excel sheet. The Excel sheet has, for example, the in the case of insurance, automobile insurance, they have given the policy holder name, policy number, and also they would have given the claim number, and then the premium amount, how much they paid, what is the sum assured, so on and so forth. So you have the data set given in Excel file. Right? In the Excel sheet, when you open it, you can see various columns, right? Instead of calling columns, I can see variable. So what is a variable? A variable is anything that can take. For example, I have a variable called gender. Gender can take male, female, or nowadays we could see transgender also. Right? Male, female, transgender. See, this variable can take any value. Either it can take a female or male, depends on the gender of the person. This is what variable, right? So in the variable, right, as I told you, in a data set you have multiple columns or multiple variables. In order to understand better about your data, right, what values are stored in which column, right, and how to what kind of level of measurement they used it, and for each variable, what kind of measures that I can use it. Suppose I have a column called gender. In the gender, I can have male, female, some cases transgender. Can I do average on this column? Rishik, let's say you have in the data set 10,000 customers are there in the automobile industry. You can see the gender as some in the gender column. You find three classes or three categories. One is male, female, transgender. Some customers, they are male, majority of them are male, majority of them are female, only few of them are transgender. Using this gender column, we can classify. Supposing your manager is asking you how many males they applied for the claim. Because of this column, gender column, you are able to classify the data. Not only knowing whether the column is a classic categorical variable is sufficient, and also in statistics what they did, they introduced something called levels of measurement, right, to identify they classified the variables into different types. One is nominal type of variable and ordinal type of variable. These both nominal and these ordinal type of variables, right, are qualitative variable. It is called as qualitative variable, and some people they call it as a non-parametric variable, or some they call it as a categorical variable. Look here, so these two, right, the nominal and ordinal, these two are called as categorical variable, and also some people they call it as a qualitative variable, some they call it non-parametric variable, right? So these are the four basic scales of measurement is there in statistics. So here now the question is, okay, these two are categorical in nature, then why did they why did they discriminated the categorical variable itself as nominal and ordinal? Okay. So what is nominal type of variable? Right? Nominal is used to classify or categorize the data. The classic example is gender or religion. Let's take religion or favorite color. Right? Favorite color, customer type. Right? Have they purchased online or this one in store, right? Customer type, order, let's say order type. Order also instead of saying order type is something like whether it is order type, something like priority. Order priority falls under ordinal, but nominal, right? The gender, religion, the favorite color. Right, these are the nominal type of variable. Right, it is also called as right? It is also called as categorical variable. But here, what we are doing is as part of nominal. To classify the data, we use the categorical variable. The categorical variable, we say oh, this customer is male, this customer, we flag the customers as male, female, something like that, right? So based on the sex or gender, we flag or we will fill this column, gender column, with male, female, so that we will got to know which all customers or male customers that they filed for the claim. How many number of male customers they filed for the claim? How many number of female customers they filed for the claim? In the case of nominal, all we do is we just classify the data, right? We just classify the data, or in other words, using nominal in the case of nominal, we are simply labeling the transactions or observations. Observation nothing but the records. If you don't have gender column, what will happen? You cannot tell how many number of males. You cannot answer your business stakeholders question, right? You cannot say yeah, this many number of males, this many number of females they applied for the claim. Okay, in the case of nominal, take the same example, gender column, or other example is region, right? You have a column called region. In the region, you have something like north region, south region, east region, west region, and you have something called marital status, whether they are married or not, right? All those information, and again, the driver experience, right? The driver experience column, it is a categorical variable. Let's assume that it's a categorical variable. There, if you see it, the fresh new, they are new to driving. They have 2 years experience, and between 3 to 5 year experience, and 5 to 6 to 10 year 6 plus experience, right? These are the three categories are there. So take this example, region. North, east, this customer belong to North India, South India, East India, West India, fine. Or North Chennai, South Chennai, East Chennai, West Chennai, fine. But can you take average in this column, the region column, Rishik or Dwarak? You cannot take average, right? It's a text. The value stored in the column region is in the form of text. You cannot, if you take average on this column, it doesn't make any sense, right? So what we do is rather we take the frequencies, how many the number of basically we try to find out the number of occurrences of north category, number of occurrences of south category, and so on. And also we can take percentage or proportions, but you cannot perform any arithmetic operations like mean, median. In statistics, we call the average as mean. The median is nothing but the middle value, and standard deviation is the variation, right? How far the values are deviating from the middle value, which is nothing but the mean. You cannot use mean, median, standard deviation on the nominal type of the variable. Basically, we use nominal type of variable to flag or label the record. This record is related to male, or this customer belong to north region, this customer south region, to label the transactions or records or observations. Statistics, they say instead of record, they say observations or cases, CASES, cases. That's how they use some terms. Okay, to summarize, in the case of nominal, the nominal type of variables are used to classify the data or categorize the data. In the on this categorical variable, you cannot perform mean, median, standard deviation. Instead, you can find out the frequencies. You can find out the number of occurrences of the classes. Classes nothing but the categories. I use these two terms interchangeably. Don't get confused. Let's say I have a column called region. In the region, let's assume that north, east, west, south. These four values, I call that as a categories, or sometimes I used to call this the classes. Okay, try to be familiar with all these terms because the terminologies or jargons, because when you join as a data scientist or at the time of interview or when you do some kind of consulting job, they will the customers will use different terms, okay, especially the American customers and Europe customers, right? They'll use different terms. That's the reason why I'm telling everything. The next one is ordinal. Earlier I said both nominal as well as ordinal. These two types of variables are categorical in nature, but there is a distinction between ordinal and nominal. That is the reason why within this categorical type of variable, they created two different types. One is nominal and ordinal. What is ordinal? For example, you have a column called appraisal rating. You are working for a company. Every once in a year or every once in 6 months, they will review your performance, how well you are doing, right? Whatever the task I give it, are you only completing the task which I give it to you, or you have done, or you have gone extra mile and you did something out of the box, okay? You came up with some out of the idea, out of the box idea, and then you developed some new products or any utilities in order to improve the productivity or something like that. They will review your performance and they will give you the rating. Rating 1 is high, right? That means you are outstanding, your performance is outstanding. In the column of appraisal rating, you see a column called appraisal rating. The appraisal rating, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 values are there. Some employees they got 1, some employees they get they get 2, some employees they get 3, and some of them they getting 4. It is not arbitrary, it is purely based on each employee's performance. The ratings are determined, isn't it? But in this case, the appraisal rating column has 1, 2, some employees 1 is their rating, some employees the rating is 2 and 3 and 4 is there. It is a categorical rule. At the maximum, you have only 4 buckets. One is top performer and good performer, outstanding performer, top performer, good performer, and poor performer, something like that, right? Performer, right? So in that case, this is how we classify this. This is also a categorical variable. But in this case, let's say the appraisal rating column has value 1. I'll just write it here. Let's say you have something called your column called appraisal rating. In this column is Rishik, right? Rishik, his age, everything is there. The appraisal rating they gave 1. Dwarak, right? And they gave rating 2. And let's say Swati. Swati is rating 1, and Udaya is rating 2. And let's something Santosh got rating 3. 3 is meeting the expectation. Let's another guy, right, his rating is 4. But at the maximum, so how many buckets will be there? The maximum only 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Even though you have let's say 2.7 in TCS 2.75 lakhs, right? Total number of close to 2.7 lakhs employees are there. The rating, when you look at this column, appraisal rating column, some employees would have got 1, some employees and 2, 1. You can maximum you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Beyond that, you will not see anything else, because the 1 says outstanding, good, and here outstanding, very good, and needs improvement. 4 is needs improvement. Only 4 is there. Here also it is a categorical variable, but here we are using numerical value, or you can use the directly write outstanding, something text like how I mentioned, right? Gender column, male, female. Here also you can specify the rating in text form, okay, like outstanding, very good, needs improvement. They can specify. Sometimes instead of specifying like this, they use some numeric values. Since they use the numeric values in this column, it cannot be considered as a quantitative variable. It is still a qualitative variable only, right? So if you do average on these values, will it make any sense? It doesn't make any sense. Even in the case of ordinal type of variable, You can perform frequencies, like you can find out the number of occurrences of 1, number of occurrences of 2, how many number of employees they got rating 1, how many number of employees got rating 2. Even in the case of school, right, ranks will be there, right. Top rank is A, B, let's say A, B, C, D, right. A is outstanding, B is very good, C is good, and D is fair, not so great, is fair, needs improvement, right. Even in schools they give some ranking. Similarly, in this, see that the difference between the ordinal and nominal is, here the rank is coming into picture. In the case of ordinal measurement, the values stress the order or rank of the values. We can say in the case of appraisal rating, 1 is superior than 2. It makes sense, right? And 2 is superior than 3 and 3 is superior than 4, because my rank is superior than others' rank. And this guy says, yeah, his rank is superior than others. Sorry, 1 is, it's not less than 2, 1 is greater than 2, 2 is greater than 3, and 3 is greater than 4, right? Here the rank comes into picture. When it comes to ordinal type of variable, the values are stored intrinsically, right? The value is stored intrinsically with an order, with some rank or order. Intrinsically, it has some order in it. That is why we call that as a nominal type, ordinal type of variable. Now let us step back to our nominal type of variable. Okay, in the nominal, can I say gender? Male is superior than female. Instead of saying male, female, I can also do some kind of encoding. Let's say 1 is male and female is 0. Just because we encoded male as 1 and female as 0, can we say male is superior than female? And vice versa, can we say? You cannot say, right? It doesn't make any sense. Gender bias is offense in USA. There should not be any gender bias. There should not be any bias with respect to race. When it comes to nominal variable, there is no superiority or there is no rank here. Simply I used 1 is to classify which all transactions are related to male, which transactions made by female. I just use 1 and 0, that's all. It's just a label. But when it comes to ordinal type of variable, intrinsically it has some order in it. But here we can say 1 is superior than 2, 2 is superior than 3, and 3 is superior than 4. Whereas in the case of nominal, we cannot tell. Right? But both of them are categorical variable. In both the cases, we can perform frequencies and proportions. That's all. You cannot use mean, median. Even if you use mean, median, doesn't make any sense. We can use mode. Okay, we have something called mode. Mode is helpful in terms of finding out the number of occurrences, most popular value or most frequently occurring value, right? The next one is interval type of variable, right? Intervals are distance between two things. And interval, right? Difference between two things. One is, in simple term, what you remember is, if somebody says interval, right, it is nothing but the interval is kind of, right, discrete variable. Discrete, D-I-S-C-R-E-T. I'll write it neatly. Discrete variable. The ratio is called as continuous variable. Continuous variable. What do you mean by discrete variable? I'll just give you an example for this. For example, in the case of labor ward, in an hospital labor ward, a senior staff nurse entering inside the labor ward, and she is asking the junior nurse, right? So how many number of male kids born? How many number of female kids born? How many number of male kids born? How many number of female kids born? You will never say 8.33 male kids born. In simple term, discrete variable is nothing but the whole number. Right? Whole number. It is a whole number. Discrete variable is nothing but the whole number. You will never say 8.3. Suppose another example, let's say your manager is asking you, let's say you are running a retail store and your manager is asking you, since morning, how many number of customers visited our shop? We can say 15, 20 male customers and 15 female customers, you can say. You cannot say 15.5555 customers, male customers they visited. Can you say like that? Does it make any sense? It doesn't sound good, isn't it? It sounds odd. So always use the whole number only in this case, right? Number of customers visited and defect types. This is another example. Defect types. Let's say you are inspecting the products manufactured in the assembly line. You will say or number of defects. Number of defects. Number of defects. Defect types is related to nominal. Number of defects. You say 8 defects were there or 20 defects were there. You never say 20.003, right? You never say like this. It's all whole number. Just remember, interval is nothing but the whole number. And instead of saying whole number, we call it as a discrete variable. Okay, it is a quantitative variable. The interval and ratio is also called as a quantitative variable. Quantitative variable. Both of them are called as quantitative variable, and these two are called as qualitative variable. Qualitative, or we call this as a categorical variable. Both of them, but there is a difference between these two. In the case of ordinal, intrinsically it has some order in it. When it comes to interval, it is a whole number, whereas ratio is a continuous number. Right? So in the case of interval, it is a whole number. Right? So in the case of interval, the interval can be used in some kind of calculation, right? So data at the interval level can be used in some calculations, but the data at this level does lack one type of comparison, something like let's say 3 into 30 is 90. It is not correct to say that when it comes to temperature, right, 90 degrees Celsius is 3 times as hot as 30 degrees Celsius. Can we say like that? 90 degrees Celsius is 3 times as hot as 30 degrees Celsius. We cannot say like that. 30 degrees Celsius, 30 degrees, that's all. In OT, the temperature is 0 degree. What does it say? When it comes to ratio, somebody says I have zero balance in my account. Here we say zero balance, right? Zero balance means nothing is there here. Zero doesn't make any sense, right? Here nothing is there, but whereas here zero has some true meaning here when it comes to interval. Okay, so that is the other difference. What is the example for the ratio? The example for ratio is salary. Salary cannot be whole number, right? And daily wages, it cannot be whole number. And you have something called price cannot be whole number, right? So these are the examples for the ratio. Since these two are, interval and ratio, are quantitative variable, you can find out the mean. Mean is nothing but the average. You can find out the middle value. You can find out the standard deviation, the variance. Okay, even in the case of ratio, the same measures. These are called measures. We can use these measures. To understand the characteristics of the data. Hope you understood what is nominal type of variable, what is ordinal, and what is the difference between interval and ratio. In the case of interval, it's a whole number. Just think that way. In the case of ratio, it is a continuous variable. We cannot say, right, as the name suggests, continuous variable, it is continuous. Let's say your body weight and body weight. Supposing you are shipping an item from Chennai to Bangalore or shipping a TV. The TV, they never round it off, isn't it? Let's say the TV weight is 8 kg, and let's say 12 kg. The TV weight is 12 kg, right? Or let's say 12 kg including the stand, TV stand. Right? They weigh the TV weight, everything, and then say, sir, the weight of the both, right? 11.875 kgs. That means 11 kgs 875 gram. Every 500 gram we charge some amount. If they round it off to 12 kgs, will you accept it? No, right? Or if you ask them to round it off at the floor, we call it floor in the sense, ignore the decimal and go by the whole number, right? So, but in both the cases, it is lose-lose situation. The shipping company will lose if they do some flooring, right? And if they do some ceiling is instead of 11.875, if they make it 12, the customer will get dissatisfied. Since they go literally by this value, we cannot round it off 11.8. So because every 500 gram matters, right? So 11.875 is an example for continuous type of variable. Right? So in the case of ratio, if you say 0, if you say 0, the 0 indicates the absence of the quantity. Let's say we sold 0 quantity. That means we did not sell any item. So absence, right? The 0 money indicates the absence of money. We don't have money. But when it comes to, it doesn't have any, 0 doesn't have any meaning here, but when it comes to interval, the 0 has some meaning in it. So 0 temperature, right? 0 degree, we say 0 degree, yes. We can understand, how, bad the temperature is, right? How cold the temperature by knowing that. It has some meaning in it. So now you understood what is levels of measurement. Now let's work on this simple thing. Can you all please type it in the chat window? I just want to make sure that how well you understood the levels of measurement. Gender, here I mentioned about nominal type of variable already. It is a discrete or continuous variable. It is neither a discrete or continuous, right? It is neither a discrete, though it is a 1, 2. Instead of specifying male and female, we can specify 1 and 2 also, right? It is not a discrete variable because it is a categorical variable. Year age, can you tell me what is this? Is this interval or ratio, or is this nominal or ordinal? Dwarak and others. Rishik, why don't you tell? Is this a nominal variable, nominal type of measurement, or is this ordinal or something else? Ordinal. Why ordinal? Do you think it has any order in it? Those employees or students ages 23, or those students or employees or customers ages 24, they are superior than those customers ages 23, less than 23, right? No, we cannot say, isn't it? There is no superiority, there is no rank comes here. Since it's a whole number, we can say it is interval. It is a whole number, isn't it? Discrete value. We always say like this. We tell our completed age. If anybody asks you how old are you, we say our completed age. We never say I am 23, I completed 23 years and 6 months and 22 days. We never say like this. We simply say the completed age, 23 years. It's a whole number. It's an interval type of measurement, right? The next one is, it's a discrete. It is a discrete variable. It's a discrete variable. It is not continuous, right? Discrete variable. Hours spent last week, 5.30 is the ratio type of variable. Hence, it is a continuous. Performance rating, appraisal rating, 1, 2, 3, 4. Or, the student rank in a college or school. 1, 2, 3, 4. It has some order in it. 1 is superior than 2, 2 is superior than 3. Those employees got rating 1, they are eligible for promotion in this cycle for sure. Those employees got rating 2, they are eligible for salary hike, not for job promotion. Okay, right? Number 3 and 4, 3 will get some kind of salary hike, but not as good as those got rating 2, and 4 they will not get, they will not lose their job. 4, that's all. Okay, they will not get any hike, they will not get. So in this case, superiority comes into picture. 1 is superior than 2, 2 is superior than 3, 3 is superior. Hence, it is ordinal type of variable. Ordinal type of variable. So hope you understood this example. If you still need some time to understand this one, probably you can watch my video. So what is descriptive statistics? As part of descriptive statistics, we are summarizing or describing the given data. Right? So customer gives you, let's say you joined with a company, you joined with Walmart, they gave you the data set, the order transaction related data, they gave it to you. They want you to give some quick insight about the data, because the problem here is the data, right, whatever they gave it, it is in terms of 25 million records are there. 25 million records, it's a huge number of records. You cannot give the insight as soon as they give the data. To give more insights regarding the business performance or other KPI related metrics, you need to take a lot of time, you need to do a lot of analysis, and then you need to do some kind of grouping and filtering, joining, and then only you can give some interesting insight. But if somebody is asking you, hey man, I gave you 25 million records, can you give me quick insights? Right? So what you do is, using descriptive statistics, we can give quick insights, something like you can give some kind of 5-number summary. What is 5-number summary? You are the senior data scientist. Once you join the company, they'll ask you this one. Hey, I gave you the data. Can you please tell me the 5-number summary quickly? It's nothing but, please remember, don't forget this. Okay, this is very important. So minimum, you have something called minimum, and then you have something called quartile 1. This is L. Okay, quartile 1 and quartile 3. Quartile 3. And median, and here's something called maximum. Let's say they've given you the salary. Okay, they want to do some kind of analysis. Say in Walmart, different department, then line of business. I've given you this salary detail. Can you please tell me which department gets the minimum salary? Which department gets maximum salary? Which department get average salary? What is the quartile 1 and quartile 3, right? So with a single quantitative variable, it is a numerical variable. That's the reason why I said quantitative variable. With this single variable, you can give 5 values, right? 5-number summary. Some people, right, they give mean also along with this. So see, this is the conventional way of saying it, but nowadays with statistical software we can give 6-number summary also, quartile 1, quartile 3, even median also it displays in Python and other languages. In simple terms, the descriptive statistics will help you to gain a quick overview or high level characteristics about your data. Like what is the minimum salary they are drawing it. Let's say you have 25 million records are there, and you need to get a quick insight. Okay, this is the minimum. This is sales related data, is there, right? Minimum sale in north region and minimum sale in south region, east region, region wise. Minimum salary, region wise, maximum salary, region wise, median, quartile and quartile 3 data. We'll discuss about quartile little later. Don't worry. With the help of descriptive statistics, we can get the gist of the given data, or in other words, we can understand the characteristics of the data. Right? So in descriptive statistics, what we do is, it involves summarizing and organizing the data so they can be easily understood. Here we do summarizing. What is summarizing? Maximum, minimum, average. These are all summary. Right? So descriptive statistics, unlike inferential statistics, as I told you, in statistics two branches are there. One is inferential statistics, other one is descriptive statistics. Unlike inferential statistics, in the case of descriptive statistics, it seeks to describe the data but do not attempt to make any inferences from the sample to the whole population. Okay. Even in the case of descriptive statistics, there are two types are there. In statistics, two types are there. There are two branches. One is descriptive, inferential. Within the descriptive, two branches are there. One is measures of central tendency. Other one is measures of spread. What is this measures of central tendency? What does it say? The central tendency, it tells us where the center of the distribution tends to be, or the central location of the data, it tells us. That is what the measures of central tendency is all about. With example, let's try to understand what exactly measures of central tendency is all about. Mean is one of the measure. Mean is nothing but average. Let's say these are the salaries, these are the data given to you. Rishik, the Rishik and Dwarak, right? You joined with the company, they gave you this data scientist data. Let's say all these data scientists falls in level 3 and band 2. So it's something like in the every organization, if you see, they when the employee join the company, they will put him in specific band. Within that band, you have some level will be there. Okay, let's assume that these guys are all all these salaries are related to 6 guys. Okay, 6 guys salary is there here listed out, and all these 6 data scientists falls under level 3 band 2. Now you might be wondering, how come all these 6 data scientists falls in level 3 and band 2? Their salaries are differing. It is very common, isn't it? Let's say I joined with the companies as a data scientist. Like me, other data scientists also join. Not necessarily all the data scientists' salaries should be same, right? Because some data scientists, they came from some other company. Some data scientists, they have more experience. Some data scientists, based on their experience level, right? They would have, and again based on the company, because of the company background, also they get a good salary. Okay, somebody is joined from Google, right? So then you will get more salary compared to other data scientists, though they are falling in level 3 and band 2. It is something like, right, age 25-year-old guy. Simple example for you to understand. Anyhow, don't for you to understand, I am giving this example. Within this 25-year-old guys, all the 6 data scientists are 25. Just because their age is 25, we cannot expect all the data scientists whose age is 25, the salary is same. We cannot say, isn't it? Though this guy's salary is 25, age is 25, he worked with Google for 2 years, because of which his salary is very high compared to other. There could be different, various reasons. Right? So that's the reason why we can see different salaries for the same employee or same level of the employee. When you take the average, forget about the last one. When you take the average, you will get 48,000. You are getting 48,000. In statistics, so this is called sample. Okay, in sample, we did not take entire organization's data scientist salary. We just took only these 6 data scientists, because in our example, these 6 guys falling in level 3 band 2. Sample data, we took it. Okay, so hence if you take the mean on these, forget about this one for the time being. Let's say we have taken the average on these 5 employees salary, data scientist salary. We use a notation called X bar, because we have taken a sample, and you are finding out the average in this sample. Hence we use a notation called x bar. On top of the x you need to put one line, okay, x bar. This is nothing but sample mean, right? So if you add all these things, right, you get the average salary is 48,000. 5 employees salary. Use something else is there, right, with 500,000. When you include this also, and if you take an average, you get 123k. You are getting 123k. Without including this, the average is 48,000. After including this, the average is 123. So why? Just because one simple common sense, just because one person is getting very high salary, the average got skewed. Even the average got skewed in this case. But if you exclude this and if you take an average, right, it is pretty decent. Simple example is, let's say I want to join, let's say you work for Infosys. I want to join Infosys as a data scientist. I call Dwarak and ask, hey Dwarak, I'm interested in joining with Infosys. Can you shoot my profile? But before that, I just would like to get a sense of what is the average salary I can get if I get a job with Infosys, given my band and level. And now Rishik says, right? Rishik says 48,000. Or if Rishik says 123k, right? With, see, this is called outlier. Here's something called outlier. What is outlier? Exceptionally very high value. Either exceptionally very high value or exceptionally very low value. When you look at this data, all these values, all these 5 values, right, 5 employees' salaries are somewhat closer. Though there is a difference, the difference is not much compared to this value. The distance, if you find out the distance between 53 and 500k and 38 to 500k, the distance too far compared to the other salaries, isn't it? Hence it is called outlier. Abnormally, unusually very high value, or unusually very, supposing I have something like $1,000 or minus $1,000. Right? That means no employees will get negative salary, isn't it? Then something wrong here, something wrong with this sign, or some additional zero got missed out here. But in this case, the unusually or exceptionally very high value, very low value also you find, these are all called outlier. You understood, right? Now, when we go back to this example, if I exclude this outlier and if I take the average, it is pretty decent. If you tell me, Satya, you can get 48,000, you can expect on an average 48,000 if you can, if you get through with the interview. Then I will make up my mind, man, already I am getting 450, then why should I go for this? I say, sorry, I'm not interested. Rather than giving this number, let's say if he says, Satya, you can get 123k, he is setting a wrong expectation. Right? Because he has included the outlier also. Just because one person is getting very high salary, you cannot generalize, people with band 2, level 3, everyone will get on an average 123k, isn't it? What did you understand from here? When you include the outlier, the mean value, is getting skewed, right? It gets spiked up. So, if you have an outlier in a data set, do not use mean. Do not use mean. Okay, do not use mean. And if you have an outlier in a data, we call that as skewed data or heavily skewed data. Alright. So in this case it is heavily skewed. Heavily skewed data. If the data set is heavily skewed, then please don't use mean. Mean is not helpful. Fine. Next, same different example. Amount spent. I randomly sampled 10 customers who purchased in my shop in the last 1 month. I just took an average amount spent by these customers. All I have to do is just add this 10 customers amount spent divided by 10. That is what I mean. This is very simple. School time we studied. How many number of observations? 10, right? That is the reason why in the denominator we put in 10. So this one, which one? The mean is very simple. The easy to compute. You don't have to use any complex formula. Very easy to compute mean. It works well when data is not heavily skewed. I'm going to highlight this one. If the data is not heavily skewed, if the data has outlier, please do not use mean. Now let's take a simple quiz. All salaries in the distribution affect the mean. Say yes or no. True or false. Rishik, you see salary data given to you. Let's say 10,000, 10K, 10K, 20K, 18K, 17K, and 15.6K. Right? So yes, when it comes to mean, we take all the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 divided by 5. Sorry, 10 plus 20 plus, we add all these 5 values and divided by 5. Hence, all signs in the distribution affect the mean. Yes, true. Mean can be described with a formula. Yes, true. We can use a formula, isn't it? Many samples from the same population will have similar means. Can someone tell me, is this true or false? Just think and tell me. Many samples from the same population. What is population? For example, I'll take simple, the values 1, 2, 3, 4. These are there in my population. My population mean is 2.5. You add all these 1, 2, 3, 4 divided by 4. You will get 2.5. Let's say I am drawing multiple samples. 1, 2 is one sample. And drawing another sample 2, 3. And drawing another sample called let's say 3 and 2. If you take each and every sample mean 5, here also 5, right? 5 divided by 2, that is what average. 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. The x bar, this sample mean is 2.5. And if you take the sample mean for this is also 2.5. Can we say many samples same will have similar means? So this means same. Can we say this is true? We cannot say, right? If you take some more sample, for example 4,1. 4,1 is 5. Here also 5. Okay, yeah, in this case it is 2.5. And if you take 1, 2, 1.5. And 1, 3, 4, 2. And if you take 3, 4, 7. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. We cannot say many samples from the same population will have similar means, right? There will be some overlap, but we cannot say, right, many samples from the same population have similar means. We cannot say, hence it is false. And the mean of a sample can be used to make inferences. With the mean, with the average value itself, we cannot inference the population, right? So it is false. Don't worry about this. When we discuss about inference statistics, we will discuss in detail about this one. Okay, I think other points you are okay with this. And the next one is median. One drawback with mean was you cannot find out the average on the heavily skewed data. So next one is median. So in the case of median, if you have to compute the median manually, you need to sort the data in ascending order. 10, 11, 20, 22. right? 10, let's this is for example we'll put for 51. Okay, don't get confused. So here, right, so what you do is, in the case of median, we sort the data in ascending order, and then we find out the middle value. Median is nothing but the middle value. In simple term, the first and last, if you cancel it, right, if you keep cancelling it, and this one and this one and this one and this one, the middle one is the third, the median. This is called your median. Median is nothing but the middle value. Middle value. Okay, in this case we have 4 plus 4, 8 plus 1, 9. My sample size, I call sample as n. This is the notation they use it. How many data points are there? 9. The 9 is an even or odd number. It is an odd number, right? The sample size is in terms of odd. Hence, finding out the middle value is very easier. Supposing, take this example, in this case, 10 data points are there. If I cancel the first and last, this and this and this and this, this and this, right, I am left with the two middle one. When it comes to the sample is in terms of even number, right, number of data points or the even, then you need to take the two middle values and add them together, divided by 2. So 32 plus 32 divided by 2 is 32 only, right? That is what the median. Now the question is, this is what I studied during school time. What is so big deal about this? Now let's get back to the same example. In the case of mean, we use the data, let's say, the data scientist or data analyst salary, isn't it? You just, think this is data scientist. You ignore this one for the time being, okay? This is data scientist salary. If you take the average by including the outlier in a data set, your mean value exploded like anything. But if you take median, what you will have to sort the data points in ascending order. First, 41 will come, 38 will come, next 41, and next one is 53 and 41 and 48 and 53 and 57, okay, right? And finally this one will come. But which one is the minimum value? 38, isn't it? You cancel this. What is the maximum value? You cancel this one. You remember the first and last we cancelled it, isn't it? See, the first and last we cancelled it. Similarly here, the first one is the minimum value, the next one is the maximum value. What is the next minimum value in this one? 41,000. You cancel this. And what is the next maximum value in this data set? 57. You cancel it. And you are left with only 2 more data, right? So you cannot cancel these two. If you cancel it, you will not have any. 53 160 plus 48 670, right? You need to okay, here 48 670, okay, 3 and 6 is there, right? Something wrong here. 48, okay, let's see, 48 670 53 160, right? 160 and 48 670, right? So if you add these two things, yeah, it will not, right? You will not get this message. It's something else. 101580, right? So here 250s or 100 and 180, right? So 909 and 3 is 15, right? So 5095. So anyhow here it is not coming out correctly here, right? So 53,048. Let's say 50 and 50 also, right? 100k, right? 100,000, and if you do something 50,000, right? Okay, let's take for simplicity's sake, right? Let's take another value here, right? Let's take 48,000. Now we are left with 53,000 and 48,000, isn't it? 48,000. I'm going to introduce another value called let's say I'm going to call it as the 41,000. Okay, this 41,900. Okay, and not 41,000. Sorry, what is the next value? 57, right? The next minimum value, 41. Yeah, let's say 41,980. This and this one I'm going to cancel it. We are left with 48,670. Yeah, I missed out one more point. So 48,670 in this case. But when you include, in the case of mean, year, okay, this is the one is for excluding the outlier. Okay, sorry, I confused you. In the case of after excluding the median, so this outlier, you are left with only these 5 values. In the 5 values, the median is obviously 48,670, right? Yeah, that's how I arrived here. And mean is, the mean value for this one is 47. In this case, you did not consider outlier. If you don't have an outlier in a data set, mean is the best measure to find out the average. Don't use median. Okay. If the data is heavily skewed, that means the data which you have has or have outliers in it, then median is better. When you take all the 6 values, right, the median comes 50,915 only. See, for example, 53 plus 53 divided by 2, 53 only you'll get, right? But when you take mean, what happens? If you take everything into account and divided by 6, you will get 123,098. It is way too high. What is your understanding now? Even if you have an outlier in a data set, median is not skewed like how mean got skewed, right? So median is so robust. Median is resistant to outlier. If your data has outlier in it, better use median, don't use mean. That is what we conclude by looking at this data, isn't it? What is the new mean after introducing the outlier, right? So the new mean, this is what the mean we are getting it. The median is robust. Even though you have an outlier, the median is not skewed. But whereas in the case of mean, it is sensitive to outlier because you take into account of all the values. When it comes to median, you take only the middle value. Always, most of the time, right? Always, the outlier will be on the other side, right? On the right side, at the end of this one. And even in the case of the lower side of the outlier, it is on the minimum side, right? When it comes to median, you are taking the middle value. Hence, your median is so robust, you are not taking into account of outlier when it comes to median. It is not taking into account of outlier. Hope you understood. You can use mean if you don't have outlier or if the data is not heavily skewed. If the data is heavily skewed, better use median. It is not sensitive to outlier. Now you tell me what is the answer for this and find the median of this data set. Where do you think the median is? Can you make it fast? See, where do you think the median is? I'll just tell you the answer, okay, in the interest of time, okay. So here, we have to sort the data in ascending order to find out the median. The least value is 38,000. Same example, right? 38,000. Here, I'm going to cancel this one. Sorry, here I'm going, 1 second, let me just. Yeah, in this case, if you look at this, the 38,150, and then next one is 41,290, and the next one is 48, right? 48,670, comma, the next one is, next highest value is 53,160, and the next one is 57,320, and comma 500,000, right? So if you have to find out the median, cancel these two, first and last, and this one and this one, and 48,006, somewhere I missed out, right? 38,000, 41,000, 53,000, 48,000, and 57, right? First and last, and this one and this, And yeah, this I cannot cancel it. I need to add both of them, right? If you add both, roughly 53,000 plus 48,000, right? You will get 100,000. 100,000 divided by 50,000, right? You will get somewhere 50 or so here 48,670 or 53,670 or anywhere in between 48,000, because since these two values are there in the middle, you cannot cancel it. You will have to add these two things divided by 2, exactly in between or anywhere in between, exactly in between 48,500. This is the answer for it. You cannot say anywhere in between, isn't it? Exactly in between these two, in 48,670 plus 53,160 divided by 2, right? That is just a tricky question, because nowadays, irrespective of the level, when you go for an interview, they conduct the online test. Next mode, it is very interesting one. So far we discussed about mean, median, and now we will see what is mode is all about. So this is the data set. This is the given data set. Amount spent by various customers. Various customers, 11 various customers amount spent data we have it. Randomly we sample the data. So what is your understanding around mode? Mode is nothing but the more frequently occurring value, right? Supposing you have the data set 1 and 2, 7, 6 and 7 is there. So in this case, the mode is 7. The most popular or most frequently occurring value is called your mode. So in this case, the mode is 7. Now the question is, I have something else like 1, 2, 17, 11, 2, 1. In this case, I have two modes. 2 is there. 2 occur 2 times and 1 occurred 2 times. Hence, the mode is 1, 2. This is called bimodal. This is called unimodal, right? This is called unimodal because you have only one mode. In this case, you have bimodal. Hence, we call it bimodal. And if you have 3 modes, we call it trimodal. If you have more than 3 modes, we call it multimodal. Multimodal. Sir, these and all we studied in school time. What is so special about mode? When it comes to business, how do I use mode? Look here, this is the data set. What I do is, here I'm going to create some bucket. Those customers spend less than 300. How many of them spend less than 300? 8 customers, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 customers spend less than 300. Between 300 to 500, one customer spent. 301, right? So one and 500, 480. Sorry, here 300 to 500, right? So one customer and 480, two customer. Anybody else is there? Only 2, isn't it? Here 2 is there, right? 300 to 500 and more than 500. How many customers they spend more than 500? More than 500 if you look at, right? So you don't see anything beyond 400. Only one value is the 2000. Hence, we mentioned 1 here. Number of occurrences, right? So within this bucket, how many number of customers are there? How many number of customers in each bucket? Of these 3 buckets, which one has most frequently occurring value? Less than 300, right? This is the more 300 because this is the most popular value, right? Less than 300 is the most popular value. Compared to all the buckets, this is the most popular value. It works well in winners take all the situation. It gives the most popular value. It's easy to understand. You don't require any formula to find out the mode. Just keep that in mind. Quiz mode. Now you tell me, using mode we can describe if the data is either categorical or numerical. False. How can we tell with mode the given data is numerical category? We cannot say, right? It is false. Only thing is, using mode we can find out the most frequently occurring value. That's all. The experiment in the below data set affect the mode. Is this true or false? Can someone tell me? Yes, right? 32 and 32, 32. Right? We have a mode in it and it is true. And the next one, there is an equation for the mode. False. There is no formula for this. The mode remains same for more than one sample drawn from the same population. The same question. You remember I took 1, 2, 3, 4 as the population data. And if I draw the sample with the replacement, 1, 1 sample I have, mode is there. So another sample, I can have 2 comma 3. If I draw multiple sample, we cannot say all this sample the mode is same, right? We cannot say, hence this statement is false. The next one is, can a mode change if the bin size in an histogram changes? What is a bin? Bin is nothing but bucket, right? We have, what is a histogram? Any idea? How many of you heard about this histogram? Histogram is, I guess most of you are familiar with the bar plot, right? If you don't leave any gap between the bar plot, we call that as a histogram. But when it comes to histogram, we will have to create a bin, okay? But when it comes to statistical software, we don't have to specify explicitly the bin. Though you have an option to specify bin, you don't have to specify explicitly. It is not mandatory. The statistical software automatically finds out the bucket and it plots the histogram. Your histogram is something like this. This is very important. Listen very carefully. Okay. This is your histogram. Okay. This is your y-axis. This is your y-axis. This is your x-axis. The x-axis you plotted salary. Just remember, in the case of histogram, you can plot only one variable, only one quantitative variable, numeric variable. Okay. Okay. In the x-axis, I plotted salary. What is there in the y-axis? Count. What do you mean by count? Number of occurrences. For example, salary, right? Here, 10,000 to 20,000. This is one interval or bucket, right? Those employees drawing salary between 10,000 to 20,000. It's, here you have something called 100, the count, and 200 and 300. When you see here, the employees, those drawing salary between 10,000 to 20,000 or 100 employees. And if you look at this one, let's say here 30,000, right? 30,000 to 30,001 to 40,000, right? So how many employees? Let's say here 300. This is the mode here, because most frequently occurring values, right? This is the taller the bar, that is the mode. You just think that way, okay? The mode, because 300 employees are getting salary between anywhere between 300 to 400. Hence this is the mode, right? So 300 to 400. But in this case, we have, this is called bin. You understood, right? 300 to 400 is called your bin. This is one bin. This is another bin. Bin is nothing but bucket, right? So 10,000 to 20,000 bucket, if you look at it, 100 employees are there. 20,000 to 30,000 bucket, if you look at it, how many employees are? 200 employees are there. And in this bucket, 30,001 to 40,000, 300 employees are there, right? 300 employees. So this sense, the more number of employees are falling in this one, right? We call this as a mode. But here the range of value is given, bin, right? In this case, you need to add 30,000 plus 40,000 divided by 2. 70,000 divided by 2 is 35,000. The mode is 35,000 in this case. You need to be, you need to be a bit cautious, right? When you need to be aware of this one, okay? And next one, same way, right? So please don't forget, when it comes to histogram, in the y-axis, the count is plotted. The count is performed, right? The count is plotted. Now, can you tell me the answer for that? Can a mode change if the bin size in histogram? Obviously. Right? Instead of saying 20, let's say here 30,000 to 40,000, if you split this into 30,001 to 35,000 and 35,001 to 40,000, supposing if you split this, if this goes high and if this goes less, what will happen? Because of the bin size, right? Since you change the bin size, the histogram also changes. That is true. This is false, this is true, this is false, this is true, this is false. And to summarize, so for whatever we discussed, you can use mean. It is nothing but an average if the data is not heavily skewed. What do you mean by heavily skewed? If you have an outlier in a data set, we call that as heavily skewed. In that case, please do not use mean. If the data is heavily skewed, then you can use median. If you have an outlier, better use median. Mode is the most popular value. Geometric mean we don't need it. Anyhow, it is not related to this one. Next, let us try to understand visually how to understand the distribution of the data. Okay, distribution of the data. So I discussed about histogram a while back. When you look at the histogram, right, this is how it will be like this. But in the real world, you will not get exactly the perfect like this. So here, in the case of this is called your normal distributed data. Normally distributed data. One second, let me probably let it be there. This is called your normally distributed data. I plotted income in the x-axis. In the y-axis, we have count. These values are in terms of hundreds. You just think, okay, this is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. So some employees got 11,400 to 11,400, 11,500. This is one bucket, right? This is one bucket. This is another bucket. This is another bucket, right? This is another bucket, and this is another bucket. Let's say you joined as a data scientist in a company, and your CEO, he calls you for a meeting, for an urgent meeting. What he says is the employees, right, few employees raising some concern that whatever salary we give in our organization is biased. He is fearing that the talents, you are going to lose the talents. You understood, right? What do you mean by talents? When it comes to software industry, we are called assets or talents, because based on the talent only we are getting projects. Customers are outsourcing the projects to us, right? They don't want to lose the talents. He is fearing, and then he calls let's say Dwarak. Okay, he calls Dwarak. Hey Dwarak, can you please investigate? Few employees, they came up to me. They said, the whatever salary we are giving is biased. I'm a bit concerned on this one. Can you please investigate and get back to me? What Dwarak does is he takes the payroll data and he plotted it. In the x-axis he plotted the income. Automatically in the y-axis he plotted the count. It is all in the y-axis is all in terms of hundreds. Okay, you just think it's 100, 200. When he looks at this, right, as soon as he has seen this one, he tells, no, boss, we are not biased. We are not biased. We are not biased. We are not biased. Let's say I am the CEO. I'm wondering, I'm asking Dwarak. Hey, Dwarak, I don't know statistics. I don't know what the hell is this. Okay, you are saying this is histogram. How can you say this is, by looking at it, how did you say it's not biased? That means only few of the employees are getting lesser salary. Only few of the employees are getting very high salary. That is the common phenomenon in the, I don't know, the other industry. In the case of software industry, this is a common phenomenon. Let's say you work for TCS or Infosys. Right? So it's a software company. The software company, majority of them are developers, right? Majority of them are project managers, or project leaders, module lead, architect, senior architect, enterprise architect, BI architect, so on and so forth. But oddly few people, when you see, right, they are accounts clerk. They do some kind of operational job, right? They are not involving in writing programs. They are not software developers. They are, finance executive, MIS executive, something like that, right? These non-developers are, right, they are paid less salary. Hardly few employees will be there. On the other hand, when you see it, only few employees are at the top level, right? The VP, AVP, and CEO, chairman, right? These guys are getting very high salary. Only few people are getting high salary. Only few people are getting less salary, and rest of them are getting salary on par with their level. So he is a developer and senior developer, module lead, project leader, and project manager, right? Likewise, and based on the level, the salary also goes like this. If you join the edges of this one, you will get some kind of curve. It's called bell curve. It is called bell curve. The normal distribution is also called as a bell curve. This is called your bell curve. Bell curve in the sense it is the data is normally distributed. They will be asking you, okay, what is the distribution pattern of income variable? If somebody asks you, that means it is a normally distributed data, normally distributed data. Or you can see it's a bell curve. We could say bell curve. It's very smooth, but in real life scenario, we don't get the perfect the bell curve. It will be approximately normally distributed. In some cases, skewed data will be there. Skewed thing. How can you see the skewed one? As I showed you here, right? This is the skewed one. It is not a bell curve, isn't it? Bell curve will come like this. That means it is unbiased, right? It is unbiased when it comes to income and all, right? But when it comes to look at this data, right? Majority of the data are falling here, right? Majority of the data are falling here only. And when you see, right, only few of the data, right? So only 10 customers, they spent very high. These are all like instead of 20, instead of right 38, 43, and 50, 55, something like that. Okay, so only few customers they spend more, and majority of the customers they spend between 62,000 to 36,000. You say like that. Okay. In this case, the tail is gradually right, or the tail is so long here. In this case, the tail is short on both sides of this curve. But when you look at this one, on the right side of the curve, we can see the longer tail. This is called, if the tail is extending in a longer fashion, we call this a right skewed data, or we call it a positive skew. Positively skewed. The data is positively skewed. In the case of skewed data, remember very well, right? Your mode will be there somewhere here, the most frequently occurring value, because this is the one, right? And the next one is the mean value will always get dragged on the outward. In between these two, you have the median. Median is the middle value. But when it comes to the histogram, the normally distributed data, here the mean is there, the mode is there in the middle, the mean is there in the middle, mean, median, mode, all things are equal here. Okay, remember, mean is equivalent to median is equivalent to mode. All these three values are there in the middle. Don't think it is a theory. You just put some data in Excel sheet and then you plot it. For the histogram, we'll get. I'll have some Excel sheet. Probably I'll share it. Okay. With that, all the data are there. When I plotted this, right, I just copy pasted from my Excel sheet this one. Okay. And what happened here? I could see I got something like this bell curve. And when I check the mean average of all the values, right, I go the average and middle value and mode. All these values are same, closer. But when it comes to the mean, median, mode, all these things are there in the middle. When it comes to positive skew or negative skew, the mean value will be always dragged outward. Look at here. Let's take this example, right? This is positive skew because the tail, you can see a longer tail on the right side. It is also called positive skew or right skew, right? Right skew, right skewed data. It's a very interesting one. Okay, the pattern of the data, right? We are saying this is the one is left skew, left skewed, and this is a negative skew, negatively skewed data, right? Positively skewed, negatively skewed data. In either cases, look at here the mean, right? The mean got dragged outward, right? So the mean got dragged outward. The mode is there in the peak. Here also the mode is there in the peak, and in between the mode and mean we have median. Here also the same thing. Understood, right? Now you tell me what is the correct answer here. So all the, see, I just put all the things here. Now you tell me which one is correct. The middle median is there. Median should be there. But in the middle, median is not there here. Hence this is ruled out. And here also it is ruled out. Of these two, which one is the correct answer? Mode is less than median. No, right? Mean is less than median. Yeah, obviously, mean is less than median, median is less than mode. The first one is the correct answer, right? Next one is, we discussed about the normal distribution, which is nothing but the bell curve, positively skewed distribution. The skewed distribution, we saw the left skewed or right skewed. Now we see something else here, right? It is neither a skewed data nor a normal distributed data. We can see a straight line here. So now the question is, where is the mode here? Can you tell me the mode here? If you look at this, you said the mode, right? The most frequently occurring value is the tall bar. And when you looked at here, right? Yeah, here, the tall bar is here, right? It is the mode. But now you tell me, where is the mode here? This is called uniform distribution. This is called uniform distribution. The example for this one is, let's say I am a caterer. Every month I supply food to 30 staffs. Right? They are, we are sending food to the lunch. We are providing lunch to 30 staffs from different companies. Every month we give only food to 30 staffs. That's all, because our capacity is only that much. We have manpower issue, because of which throughout the year, each month we are able to serve food only to the 30 staffs. So my revenue is nothing but the income is same across all the months. Uniform, right? It's called uniform distribution. Here we don't see any peak, right? So in the case of uniform distribution, there is no mode. Please note down, there is no mode. When it comes to uniform distribution, there is no mode here. Next one is, in this case, we have two modes here. This is mode 1 and mode 2. There are two modes are there, right? So two peaks are there, here and here. Here the data tells the story. As a data scientist, you should be very good at telling the story. What kind of story we can tell by looking at this? Take this example, you are a shoe manufacturer. Before manufacturing the shoes, you ran a survey in your city or town, and you ran a survey with male and female, and during the survey, your staffs recorded each and every most of the or bucket, right? They created a bucket, right, between 114 to 115, the female, right, their shoe sizes somewhat between these two, 114 to 115 centimeters, something like that. 114 to 115 centimeter, the feet length, right, the shoe size is between, this shoe size is 300 in the population, 300 people, shoe size is 114 to 115 centimeter. Similarly, 115 centimeter, 116, 400 people are in the population. And when you look at this here, 118 to 119, majority of the females shoe size is 118 to 119 centimeter. Majority, let's say, this is all in 100, 7 or 1000, right? 7000 females shoe size are between 118 to 119. So what you do is, you produce more shoes with this size. If you produce more shoes, instead of producing more shoes size, with this size, if you produce more shoes with this size, what will happen? What will happen? Since the population is only 3000, right? Only 3000 people maximum they'll buy it. Remaining 4000 shoes will lie idle. Probably after 6 months, after 1 year only, they may purchase it again. If they purchase it, fine, otherwise gone, right? See how it helps, how it tells the story, right? Similarly, it is a male's distribution. If you look at it, majority of the males feet size is 126 to 127. Hence, if I produce more shoes with this size, it makes sense. How? See, it tells the story very clearly, isn't it? It's awesome. That's what data science. When it comes to bar plot, it tells us, okay, which city we are selling more. Pretty straightforward. Here it is not that straightforward. Since you are a data scientist, you are armed with interpreting these charts, histogram. Histogram is meant for statistician and data scientist. If you ask the business analyst or non-statistician, right, they cannot understand what is this. Okay, mode on category. This is a very interesting one. Mode on categorical data. See, look here. Here, categorical data also we can use mode. You remember nominal and ordinal I was talking, right? Number of occurrences. Look here, male and female. The categorical variable gender as male and female. How many number of males are there purchased? Right? 30,500. 30,500 male customers they purchased. Compared to female, male purchased more. Hence, the mode is male here. You are not supposed to say this count, okay? You are supposed to tell the, well, here the male. Instead of saying, see, look here, you know, it's a very interesting one. What is the mode here? Male is the mode here. Next, which one is applicable? We discussed, this is the normally distributed data. The mean is equivalent to, median is equal to mode. This is positive or right skew. What kind of story you can tell? This is the income salary, right? The most of the employees' salary is between 31,000 to 70k. We can say, sorry, this one's supposed to be 70k, right? Most of the employees' salary is between this range. Only few employees are making more than $71,000. The yearly income is positively skewed. The yearly income is positive because the tail is longer here. This is how you need to tell the story, right? So next, measures of dispersion. I don't want to overwhelm you with continuing or dumping everything in a single session. We'll continue the measures of dispersion next week or so. Right? Okay. This weekend, 4:30 to most likely 6:30. Between 4:30 and 6:30 every Saturday, Sunday, right? Or programming will be there. We will circle back on this Saturday and Sunday, and I would urge Harishik also to join the R programming. Don't underestimate R is, don't develop some perception, right? R is boring. If you think boring, gone. Because leading companies like Walmart, even they are, if you look at their job description, they are looking for people with Python or SAS and Spark and all, okay? Have multiple skill sets. That is the good thing. It is up to you. I'll leave it to you. If you are okay, you can join the R session in the evening. And night session also, Rishik, you are part of night session. You can join that one also, okay? Night session at any cost, don't miss out, okay? I guess you are attending some daytime classes. You just plan it accordingly. By the way, from my side, I have completed the measures of central tendency and also the visualization part, right? How to visualize the distribution pattern of the data and how to interpret them. And the aspect of measures of central, we discussed about mean, median, mode, right? When we are supposed to use mean, when we are supposed to use mode, we understood. And when we are supposed to use median and how to use mode, we discussed about it, right? In the next section, we'll discuss measures of dispersion. Probably next weekday, I will cover this one, okay? After this, if you attend only the weekend session, that is more than sufficient. By the way, right, couple of other guys also, they are missing out today's session. I will speak to them. We will plan. I'll plan it accordingly, okay? Any questions so far? How did you find today's session, Rishik? Hello? Yeah? Able to understand, right? Okay. Is it interesting or boring? Okay, good. Fine. How about Dwarak? Fine. So what I will do is, right, I will share this video to you all, right? You just take a look at this, but it will take some time for me to upload it, right? So probably tomorrow morning or late in the night today, I will share the link and you watch it before you attend my next weekday session. The weekend or session, I will send you the details. Dwara, don't worry. Okay, which one to download all this? I'll send you the detail. I'll be in touch with you probably later sometime tomorrow. Okay. I mean the afternoon or so. I'll be in touch tomorrow. Okay, with you. I'll guide you
Okay.
what you need to do. All right. You're fine. Any questions?
Alright.
Any questions so far?
To be honest, I don't know what you were talking about, but I can understand the concepts inside. So it's like it's new to me. So
Not only
let's
you,
see.
not only you. That's what I said at the outset of this session. I told you this one. Not only you, all the experienced people. You believe me or not, even virtues are the director level people are coming here. Even they found little bit difficult because it's completely new one, right? So in that case, the only
Yes.
way out is watch my video one or two times. You will get a
Yes, I will do
complete
that.
understanding. Okay, complete understanding about it. Okay.
Yeah, alright.
But don't miss out, don't postpone it. Okay, I will see it later. Video is there. Don't do that. Okay, I'll send you my link also, the YouTube link and my channel link also. Subscribe it without fail. Okay, so that whenever I upload the video, you don't have to depend on me. As soon as the video get uploaded, you'll get notification. Subscribe it, please. Okay.
Alright.
All right, Rishik, you already you did not subscribe it, right? You subscribed to my website. Okay, fine. My channel. You subscribe, right? Very good, very good. Good. All right, let's circle back on this Saturday, Sunday. Okay, bye bye. Take care.